Do you ever like watch your old videos, your old shorts, YouTube shorts videos, and just look at how embarrassing you are and just want to private all those videos and hope that no one ever saw them? I just want to share some of the footage that I took in Osaka, Japan. The contrast between these 5 vending machines in front of someone's house, or maybe it's a restaurant. Moving on, we have the Osaka Castle. It's hard to scale in photos how big these stone squares, rectangles are that make up the Osaka Castle's moat, but they're huge, and the uneven stone is just so pleasing to look at. The Fushimi Inari Torii Gates in Kyoto. For how much of a tourist attraction it is, and it's very picturesque because it's such a bright orange gate. It's super well maintained, and I only spotted a handful of posts that were deteriorating or slightly damaged, and if I did see them one year, in the next year they weren't really there. It's already been taken down and replaced with new posts. As you're walking down or up the steps through the Torii Gates, it's definitely not 7-Eleven, it's much shallower. There are certain private graves there, and so I think that it's really nice that they thought about making the steps flatter so it's easier to climb, because it's a pretty steep hill where all of these things are. You know, you start at the bottom and then you see a wonderful view at the top, but it's not, if you're going consistently and with the flow of traffic, it could be pretty extenuating. Ryokan is like a traditional Japanese hotel. Service is spectacular. Everything is super clean. The ryokan that we stayed at, which I still like, they spelled their name really interestingly that I still don't really know how to pronounce it correctly. But from the outside, it just looks insane. Like, it looks almost like the movie Metropolis, where it's like modern and industrial. It just like does not match with the rest of the terrain that is Kyoto. You have this interesting looking dome, and then like obtuse triangles sticking out, and then like a cylinder, and I don't know if that encases the actual elevator, but it just looks like such an interesting building, like straight from an animated movie or something. When you think about like a spa and calm, and I feel like it's always light wood, teak, bamboo, you know, things like that. It definitely fell in line with all of those things that are proven to bring about calm energy and just serene. There was like a little part of mold building up. Even though the frame of the tub was wood, it was very fast drying, so manicured and beautiful and well thought out. So I did spot a little bit of moisture buildup like on the ceiling where there was like a little bit of mold, but other than that, it was just pristine. Ryokan's interior was set up beautifully. Traditional, but not gaudy. Kyoto also has Arashiyama, which is where the monkey park is. Because they are so well taken care of and the tourists feed them in a very safe and supervised way, they stay. But as far as the rest of the terrain, they have like a lot of boat rides that tourists can get onto. They have like little vendors on the side, and everything is just so clean and well maintained. Where the monkeys roam also is just like so well maintained and mapped in a certain way that they can freely roam, but at the same time it is like it's pathed out so that we know exactly where you're supposed to walk to and where you're not supposed to go to. A short walk away is the Bamboo Forest Park, and it's huge. The bamboo, if you really think about it, to think that like they grow so tall in such a slender body, it just has so much potential, you know? The cut down bamboo on the ground and just seeing the insides of it, I don't know, I just feel like it's such a wonderful plant. we also paid an admission fee to go into this garden that was built by a silent film actor who has already passed away, I think, but he built like these traditional looking temples and just this amazing garden that is now for the public to pay an entrance fee to see. And imperfect perfection is the theme here, especially when it comes to, you know, kind of intertwining nature to build like human built things. And I think that's what you see a lot of when you go to Kyoto. So this was a really wonderful garden to see, and I'm really glad that we took the time to just randomly walk in and get to experience all of that. And up on top of the hill inside this garden, you can look towards this other temple that has like a bunch of different colors. I don't exactly remember what the tour guide that was going through the garden had said, but they were like, oh, if you stand on top of the stone, you can see this garden, or you can see this temple. And I thought that was kind of cool that they were willing to share that information. And when you think about Osaka, you think about, or you hear about Dotonbori, which I heard it being called the Times Square of Japan. I do want to note that's the only place in Japan that I saw homeless people. My grandmother lives in a senior neighborhood, like senior retired communities neighborhood. So it's just a bunch of elderly people that live in this neighborhood. And so her home is built, it's definitely like a very traditional and older home. Isn't it so interesting how there are outlets out there, a set of 3, and then they're not grounded? It doesn't have that third prong that you'd see sometimes here. Most of the times here, you don't really see 2 prongs anymore unless it's an older home. This is in our Airbnb. Why are there 2 valves, 2 sets of valves? So one valve obviously for the kitchen sink, hot and cold water. And then on next to it, there's a red valve and a blue valve, as you saw here. I don't know if that's for gas. Like, we obviously didn't turn that on at all. But I just thought that was interesting if it is that it is exposed right next to the regular faucet. I don't know what it's for, but I just thought if it's not for the regular consumers to consistently use, why is it up at the top? I'm gonna just briefly go over Nara, which is another like southern big city in Japan that most tourists tend to travel to, and for good reason, because there are wild ancestral deers that have always inhabited this area, and they're so smart, they're so friendly to humans, they're so used to them that they even know how to cross the street. How it's set up there, they have wooden fences built, you know, and the park, not a park where they can kind of freely roam. There's a bunch of beautiful temples and structures to look at. The park itself is super well maintained, and the pathways are just beautifully maintained. There's like wood fences that are roped where the deers are kind of like in a more free range area, but they can easily go under them. You know, they're not like held captive there. This is another thing that I've noticed about Japan, and I like never want to forget, is there's just like a sense of, it's just a reminder that when people are civil, that we can live with wild animals. We can have a system that works for both parties, even if it's not the most natural thing. It's a reminder that these things are possible, that we can build things and take away forests, but keep certain things about nature and still be respectful of the land. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I like going to Nara. You know, some people, I'm sure there are criticisms to how things are run there, but for me personally, I love Nara. I love seeing the deers there. And then a fun little thing that's interesting, it's mostly for kids. Like in Japan, little kids, when you go to Nara, it's very common to see high schoolers or middle school groups that go to Nara Park and the Todaiji Temple, a field trip. But something that's also kind of fun that they do is there is a giant post that holds up part of the Todaiji temple, and it is said that there is a hole kind of caved in that is the size of one of the Buddha's nostrils, and if you can go through it, then it's supposed to like clear you of all these bad, clear you of misfortune, and if you are able to get through this hole, then it will bring you luck. A lot of things are like, oh, do this, it's gonna bring you good luck. It's kind of harmless, but it's fun, and it's mostly for kids. But I didn't know anything about it. Maybe I did in the back of my head, in my childhood brain, but I don't remember it at all. So I was like, there's not that many people in here today, I'm gonna totally do it, and I made it through. So that means all of my misfortunes have gone away, and I came out there, and I'm only gonna have good luck. Thank you for watching this video. That's it. This is a handywoman, American handywoman, goes to Japan and talks about the things that she was inspired by while I was in Japan. Hello, come here. Here's Shuguru. He just knows. He just knows. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.